Hello everyone, this is Diane Murray at Southern Art Gallery. It's been a while. I thought I would do a quick rundown of some of my new favorite things that I have found and purchased in 2020. So as far as drawing supplies go, I found these Derwent this cute little water soluble kit, and it comes with 6 pencils, but I gave 3 of them away. It has a dark wash, a medium wash, and a light wash. And if you're into sketching, these are so much fun to play with because you can draw on watercolor paper, do your sketch, and do a value study. That's the medium. That's the light. And then, and especially if you're doing plein air, you can really take those, and then you can just create your washes. And you can't tell much difference on this actually. But if you go back in, you can even go back in over the top. So it's a great way to do a quick little value study without dragging out your paints. This paper's not taking that very well. This is a real inexpensive pad. Who made this? That I purchased. Oh, it's just a Canson Montval, which is not one of my favorite papers. Obviously, you can see why. It pills. So, but it's good for examples. Anyway, that's the little set from Derwent. And they are, as far as I'm concerned, the best pencil company. They also make wonderful watercolor pencils. Okay, the other simple little find that I found, this is a Uniball Vision Elite, which is, you can get these anywhere. It's just a little rollerball pen, but it's waterproof, and it has the nicest little point. And I've learned to like these better than microns because the microns dry out so quickly. So anyway, that's a nice little find right there. As far as brushes go, you know I have many brushes, but I found a new brush that I just got the other day, which I think is wonderful. Let me make sure I've got that in the camera. This, hang on, is by Da Vinci, and it's called a Special Effects brush. It's a Vario tip, and you can see you can see the tip on it. See how it's graduated? And it is wonderful. I lost my favorite brush for making hair. For making hair and for making grass. I lost it in one of my classes that I was teaching. Disappeared. Anyway, this, because it has the layers, you can really get some nice effects. And you can get some very thin lines with it. And it makes great hair. So I'm still playing with this, but this has become my favorite grass texture brush. So I'm liking that. I also purchased this Princeton Velvet Touch long. It's a long round. You can see how long it is. And it's a number 6. And I really like this brush too. This brush does really nice long movements. And of course you can also lay down a wash with it. So if you're looking for a reasonable, inexpensive brush, this is actually quite nice. I think they sell the the Velvet Touch. I think they even sell it at Hobby Lobby. So that's a nice little find. As far as paper goes, I've been experimenting because I always experiment. I'll show you this first. This is actually what I use for oil. This is the Da Vinci Pro panel, and it has the wooden cradle, and it's masonite, as you can see. And this is ultra smooth, and it does the most beautiful thing when you paint on it. It's so slick and so easy to paint on. I just love it. Also, I'm using these for my watercolor grounds, which I'll show you in a minute. But it also, even though you have to put quite a few layers on the top, these are really nice, sturdy, beautiful panels. So that is something I would recommend. And they're not expensive. I've also been playing with these watercolor boards that come from Jerry's in a trial pack. I suggest that you get some of these trial packs because they're very inexpensive and they're fun to play with. I don't like the watercolor boards on their own, but what I like them for is actually putting watercolor ground on top of them. And let me show you what that looks like. This is a crescent board. This is hot pressed, it doesn't matter. They come in a set. But I have applied the Daniel Smith watercolor ground on this, and it makes a lovely surface for you to paint on. Some of them are thicker, some are thinner, but if I was going to buy these, this is what I would use those for. I tried painting directly on these, but they're not absorbent enough, and actually they started lifting up with the watercolor paper. It's basically paper glued to a hardboard, so it's probably not that archival, but they're fun to play with. If you want to play with something, it's a good thing to play with. I also found this, as I'm always looking for inexpensive products for my students, and I found this fluid watercolor paper. This is also a trial pack that you can get from Jerry's. It has 3 sheets in here. It's 8 by 10, and it's very inexpensive paper. And actually, I'm amazed at how well it takes the water. I'll show you a painting I did on the fluid. And I was really surprised by this, but this painting was actually done on the fluid watercolor paper. And as you can see, it held the color beautifully. So I'm really impressed with fluid. I don't think I'll replace my Saunders watercolor or my arches with it for my professional work, but it's excellent for students and for doing demos. My favorite new paper, and it's not new to a lot of you, but it was new to me. This is the Saunders Waterford. This is the St. Cuthbert's Mill, and it is their rough. It's 100% cotton, and it's absolutely gorgeous paper. It has a texture to it. It absorbs water beautifully, and I have to say that it is my favorite as well as arches, but I think it's actually becoming my most favorite. So we'll see. So that's paper. Okay, as far as new, one more thing. This is kind of off topic, but this is the Daniel Smith watercolor ground in titanium buff. And it is the prettiest color. If you don't need a white background, this makes a lovely background. That's what I showed you a minute ago on the on that crescent board. It's a really fun, different color to work on, and it's a very nice ground. So I'm really enjoying that. As far as pigments go, my latest favorite find is this palette, and you know I have numerous palettes. I think I have a palette problem. This is the latest one that I bought. This is the Colors of Inspiration. These are the colors that come with this set, and I've done a review on this. I'll try to link it below. These are the colors I added to make a complete 24 set. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can save this. But it turned out to be quite a nice palette, and it's currently my favorite plein air palette. And I'm really impressed that Daniel Smith finally came out with a metal palette. I've added some more colors to my already my collection of watercolors. Always searching for new pigments. I'm always searching for new pigments. One of my latest pigments that I found that I really like, other than the colors in the, well, let me just show you my favorites out of this palette right here. My new favorites in here are Serpentine Genuine. I'll always love Green Apatite. That's their Quinn Gold. I really love that. They have a good lavender, and I'm loving the Moon Glow and the Shadow Violet. I've had Moon Glow for years. I just never used it. The Wisteria's fun, but this is a really nice palette, and I'm really impressed with I've always been impressed with Daniel Smith's pigments, but I find myself using Daniel Smith and Core more and more these days, for whatever reason. And that being said, this is my new favorite skin tone color, and it is Terra Rosa, and it's by M. Graham, and it's a PR 101. It makes the most gorgeous skin tones. It's just an absolutely lovely pigment. Terra Rosa. Another new pigment that I've added to my palette is Quinacridone Burnt Orange by Core. And it is just luscious. It is a luscious color. It's a PR 206, so it's a red. And you'll see this pigment in other brands. But it just makes the most gorgeous skin tones. It's just perfect for skin tones. Okay, another color, I seem to be into these colors right now. Another one I added was Light Red by Holbein. And the reason I added this was because I'm always looking for a warm color that can be mixed with the blues and to make nice grays. And it's really a pretty orangey color, but it's not, I don't know why they call it light red. It's not red at all, but it's a PR 101. And I found this pigment from Tom Schaller. And, you know, if you know him, you know how wonderful his work is. But he uses this color a ton. So I've added that to my palette. So I've added more pigments. I can show you a few more, I guess. The other one I added from Daniel Smith is Sodalite. And I added this because it granulates. It's a really lovely blue. But I haven't found it, I haven't been able to get it to granulate the way that others seem to be able to do. So I'm still working with that. It is a lovely pigment though. So truly a lovely pigment. And I've added a lot more pigments, but we'll go into those in detail later. So, because this is supposed to be my favorites. So I do like the Sodalite though, and I'm not finished playing with it. I think the secret to these granulating colors is the more water you add to them, the more granulation you get. So anyway, that's all I can think of right now. I hope you found this helpful. And if you need more information, just shoot me an email or comment on the video, and we will see you soon.